Hello and welcome back to SpriteGuard Plays Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom. Let's pick up right where we left off and see if we can make a little bit of progress. I believe we were fighting a boss last time. Let's see. Yeah, that certainly looks like a boss. So what kind of attacks? Oh my goodness. Looks like we're going to have to go slow, and it looks like we're going to have to manipulate this one. So let's see if we can figure out... Alright, so there's that. So it looks like its positioning might be based on our position on the screen. So we probably want to start really far forward so that we can move backwards. This is a really common strategy that I will use in a lot of these fights. And it's kind of... I think of it, the way I think of it, because I came from... You know, the first video games that I played really seriously were fighting games. And so, when I think about this, I think about footsies in Street Fighter, which is basically this kind of really strategic negotiation back and forth that you go through when you're not doing combos and when you're not... throwing fireballs. It's just this kind of neutral back and forth. And you really like to be as far forward on the screen as you can be when that happens, because it gives you a lot of opportunity to back up. And that becomes really important because that means that you have, you can push forwards to try and get closer to your opponent, but if you need to go back, then you have that option available to you. And so that gives you one more option than your opponent has if they can't move backwards as far. And so you can adjust the spacing to be kind of more in your favor just by walking backwards until you get to the distance that you want to be at. And that's especially important for characters like Guile, who want to have a little extra room and want to be able to walk backwards to charge up their fireballs and then want to have room to throw their fireballs. And so in this game, the way that works out is just we want to be able to move backwards along patterns to give us a little bit more of an option when we're maneuvering. And so like there I got pushed up against the back of the screen. And it looks like this is a fairly long checkpoint. So we're going to have to make our way through it carefully and hope for a little bit of luck. So there you can see I moved backwards so much I ended up right at the back of the screen, but that ended up working out actually pretty well. Alright, so these guys throw a lot of revenge bullets, so we probably actually want to avoid them. If we were point pressing really hard, we would want to shoot a lot of them, but because we're not point pressing, we just want to shoot enough of them to make a path forward. And there we go. And these bullets are moving in kind of odd directions, but it looks like they're opening up paths for us pretty kindly. And there's the chapter finished, so we've made some progress. And we're on to the next section. It looks like we've got more of these straight down revenge bullets. Ah, but these ones are aimed. These ones don't go straight down, but they have the same long, thin shape. And so we're going to actually have to manipulate these a little bit more to give ourselves room to maneuver. And so we might want to start out kind of toward one edge of the screen and then make our way across. I didn't see what hit me there. That's kind of continuing to be a problem. There I did see what hit me. I just didn't react to it in time. But we've made some pretty good progress already in this episode, so even if we get stuck here for a while, I'm not going to feel too bad. So there we go, just need to manipulate those, create the kinds of patterns that we can get through. And so it's going to be really important that we don't create, like, walls for ourselves. And, maybe we want to move slower. Maybe we want to ignore some of these guys. Though they are shooting out normal shots as well, so we can't just completely ignore them. And I don't know if we want to be moving fast or slow. Because fast has the advantage that we get the spread shot, but slow, it's easier to find our way through gaps. There's that chapter finished. The moon is so close. Well, look who it is. If it isn't Gensokyo's Shrine Maiden. This is the ruler of dreams. This is a quite powerful nightmare, isn't it? Wait. Your physical body? Is that your physical body? I suppose it is? For your physical body to break into the dream world like this. Have you been caught in some kind of trap? Trap? I was heading toward the lunar capital. The lunar capital. Aha, I see. Very well. I will dispose of this lunatic dream. Now sleep. I will craft your Kion now. And I do not know what Kion means, so... I imagine it's not something good, because she's trying very hard to get rid of us. This is a very thick, very wonderful pattern. It's that kind of crisscrossing pattern that I love, that we talked about in the last episode, and it looks like we're going to have to get through several of these in order to get the checkpoint. So we're going to have to be really careful, really learn how to read this, and figure out, where are the openings coming out, because it's not... the openings in these kind of crisscross patterns are never where they look like they are. You always have to look for where they're going to be, because by the time the bullets get to you, they're not going to be where they are when you're looking at them. And so you really have to... these you can actually almost do on reaction. You can find the openings, and they'll stay open long enough. And they're moving slowly enough that you can kind of just wait for them to get to you, see where the opening is, and then dive into it. So that's what we're going to be doing. But we should also be practicing trying to figure out where those openings are going to be before they get to us. Because that's going to be really necessary later on down the line, especially if we start doing a harder mode. And it's a little bit frustrating that we're just getting the same pattern over and over again. I like this pattern a lot, but... Alright, there we go. So that's that done. It felt like there were quite a lot of them, maybe more than was really necessary. So for this next one, I think we're going to need some speed in order to find our way to the openings. But then to actually get through them, we're going to need to be moving pretty slowly. And this is a really interesting pattern. This is a very Toho pattern, where the bullets are kind of coming from all directions. And they're crisscrossing in interesting ways. And we have to kind of figure out, okay, which gaps are actually wide enough for us to get through, first of all. And then where are the good gaps going to appear? Because some of these we're going to have to, we're going to have to anticipate them. We can't really... There we go. And some of these you can't really get through them if you're too close to them. And so when they kind of cross over and curl around on themselves, right there, they become basically impenetrable. And so we're going to have to deal with those one at a time, and probably manipulate them to be as high on the screen as we can get them. So there's one. Oh, not quite. They're tricky to fit through, so let's get as high as we can. There we go. Wait for the first one to wrap around. And so it looks like there is actually a place where you can stand where the shots will go around you, and you don't have to sneak between them, but that's going to require us, starting out really high up on the screen to begin with. And then manipulating these patterns. And it's like we need to get into the center of the loop and then get out. And kind of dodge up and to the right. There we go. So there they went, right through us. But I think we have to let off the brakes in order to make that happen. So there's one. Whoops. Went straight down when I meant to go diagonally. That's... Oh dear. I did not manipulate that correctly. So let's get in there. Yep. Alright. Got in that one. Good. Oh, didn't quite get into that one. Gotta get into the safe spot. Oops. Didn't quite get into that safe spot either. So get as high up as we can. And then... Oh, gotta get into that safe spot. Gotta get in there. There we go. Oh, didn't get into the safe spot, but we managed to make it work. Now we're kind of in a different part of the screen that's going to be make things more difficult for us. There we go. Got into that safe spot. So we can start getting into the safe spots again. There we go. But we're farther down. There we go. All right. Oh, I tried to go for those points, and I didn't have as much time as I thought I did. Looks like we have another big old net coming for us. And we have two different sizes of bullets that are going to be... Looks like they're curving. There we go. Whoops. And it looks like they might even be speeding up a little bit. Oh, that's going to be tricky to get through. I think this might be where we end it. This is a pretty good place to end it. We made a lot of progress today. And this is a really challenging pattern that I think we may have to dedicate quite a bit of time to. So let's not be afraid to do that. And I think I'm going to wrap it up here. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.